Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I thought I'd pop by and we'll have a little creative time together, but I'm just going to create something very simple. So I've grabbed some craft card. The craft card is 4 by 6 inches. I've got a mat that's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then a craft mat 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and then a card blank 5 by 7, and eventually I will use it that way. So we'll start with the 4 by 6 inch piece of card, and this is just going to be a very simple card. So I'm going to grab some white paint, she says. Now I don't need much white paint at all, I just need a little bit. You watch, I'll braid this on and then I'll say I'll want a little bit more. So I'm just going to braid my paint out, just so that I haven't got lumps of paint. It's just nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to just sort of pick the paint up and then lift and flick, just so that we've got a nice layer of that white paint on there. And that means that whatever I add on there, when I colour it, it will pop nicely. It means I don't have to use a white pen. I can still use the white pen, but this will allow it to pop. So let's just give that a little bit of a wipe. Now what we have to be aware of, I've used paint, so when I use my VersaFine Clair, the surface, because if I stamped straight onto the craft card, it would be beautifully porous, so that ink would just sink into that card. That's not going to do that now that I've added this paint. But that doesn't matter, we can dry this and we can stamp on there and then blot the ink and dry, and it won't be a problem. So let's just give that a little bit of a wipe. I always love craft card with a touch of white on there. Even when you haven't done anything, the white just looks wonderful. Right. I've still got silver leaf from a card I was doing before all over the place. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a dry. It probably would have been better to heat the heat tool up a little bit, just so that I wasn't going straight onto the card with cold heat. Yeah, you don't need much of a heat just on that craft card. It's probably still got some moisture in there, even though it feels dry to the touch. So just grab. Now you can feel the texture in there, so you know that when you stamp that is not going to be porous. So I'm just making sure I've got one of my masks, which we're never going to find straight away. There it is. So I'm going to use my Abutolon stamp. I love having this little pocket just with my different bits and pieces in there. So I'm going to use my Abutolon stamp, which is TE7. I'm going to use VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So we're not going to do anything too complicated at all, just a bit of colouring. So we'll take our Abutolon and just ink that nicely with lots of that ink, and then we'll start with the Abutolon here. We'll just stamp that onto the card. And I bet you wouldn't believe it, would you really? It's unlike me, but I haven't grabbed a piece of copier paper every single time. It's the one thing I always forget to grab, is a piece of copier paper. So we'll just allow that just to grab hold of that surface. Just give that time. There we go. So let's just grab a bit of copy paper. And what the white does, it sort of tones down that black a little bit as well. So let's just give that a blot, and you'll see that you get some of that ink from there. So we can give it a dry afterwards, but blotting it just means that if I slightly touch it, I won't smudge. Plus, when we're using our Prismacolors, it's important that that black ink is dry, or else the Prisma waxy colour will just drag that black. Let's just move that. And then, so I've got the mask on there, and I'm going to add another floral, the opposite side. And again, we'll get frustrated if we lift it up too soon. So if we lift it up too soon, we won't get a good image. We just need to give that just time to make the impression. Beautiful. And you can see there's less white here. That's absolutely fine. And then you faff with the, we will blot this side as well afterwards. And then just give that another ink. And then I shall faff a little bit and decide where that's going. So let's have that there. That was quicker than I thought. Normally I hover over the card, not being able to decide where I'm going to place that. There we go, just move that. Just give that a little time, as always. And a little press just where we are next to that mask. Although this is out of paper, so it's not a problem. So we've got our 3 Abutylons. Told you it was going to be nice and simple. Let's just move that out of the way. And then we'll just give those a blot. And you can see that I'm still getting that ink. So let's give that a dry. Because after you've got the beautiful stamping, you then don't want to have any smudging. And it's worth just a couple of minutes extra. See, so the only place I'm getting a little bit of ink now is on the right hand side. So we'll just give that a little bit more of a dry. And I'm just heating from the back just so that my card flattens out again. And then we'll just try again. Yay, no ink at all. So we've now got our Abutylons that look lovely, just like that. And I'm just going to colour and enjoy myself now. So I've got my Prismacolors. So I've got Peacock Green, PC 907, Grass Green, and my Chartreuse. I love that colour. So I'm just going to add a little bit of green just to a little bit of the top area. And the Prismacolors do go really nicely onto the acrylic paint. They work beautifully. So I'm just using the darkest colour just to add a little bit to the edges. And they're lovely, they're beautifully sort of creamy. So I thought we could just do a simple card, spend a little bit of time together. Wonder what you're all doing on the bank holiday. After I've actually created this card and I've had a little bit of a sit because I have to have a cup of tea, that's me. And then I'm going to, it sounds really exciting, I've bought, they're only very cheap, sort of like cutter to cut, like I've got a small ivy, it's not a hedge, I've got some ivy near the front and it needs cutting. And the cutters, the strimmers or whatever that Ian's got, honestly, they're so heavy that what I have to do is I have to swing at the plant that I'm cutting. So I look like I'm literally going to axe it the way I have to swing at it, because the cutters that Ian's got, you know, you need to be able to lift like 90 kilos. It's just so heavy. So I bought these light ones, and of course Ian goes, they won't do anything, they're too light. Well, I've now got to prove him wrong that these will cut, and they're cordless. So he's taking the mickey out of me at the moment, saying they're not going to work, there's no weight in them. Well, I've got to prove they work now. So I've just used the middle colour, and then I'm using the Chartreuse. So that's my day, is doing some cutting, and then the hardest bit is picking those cuttings up, because by the time I've bent and picked all those up, because we've got like shrubs all at the front that all need cutting as well, and by the time I pick those up, I'm telling you, I'm shattered. I know how to lead the high life, honestly, I really do. So I will still use my white pencil, but adding the white paint on there just makes everything pop a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the darkest colour again, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of that darkness. Let's just, I don't know why I didn't do this bit here on each of them. So let's just add a little bit of the darker green here. There we go. Oh, going round and do, so I'm just adding a little bit more darkness just to each of them with my darkest colour. Now, it doesn't matter which green you use, and I would recommend that you sharpen your pencils, unlike me. It's far easier when you sharpen those pencils. So that was the Peacock Green, which was PC 907. Then I'm going to go to the Grass Green, which is PC 909, and just blend the other colour, just blend that a little bit. And they just layer beautifully, rather nicely on the acrylic paint. They do work very nicely on the acrylic paint. So then we're going to go to our chartreuse, which is PC 9, 8 something. 9, 8. Oh yeah, well, it's chartreuse. My poor eyes. It's lovely and bright in here, which is lovely. But sometimes the glare on the lighter colours, I can't actually see. So with the chartreuse, I'm going into all the other colours just to blend with the lighter colour. And you can see I'm just leaving sort of a little bit of the area, just so it has a little bit of shine. So if not, you can add a little bit of your white onto the craft, just so that you've got this middle area, just so that it's got a little bit of white, so it's got a little bit of shine, just so that you can see we've got the green area coloured. So then I'm going to use Crimson Lake PC 925. I can see that really easy, but this one 989, just saw it then as the sun went down. There's no hope, is there really? So I'm going to use Crimson Lake PC 925, and I'm just going to, I don't even have to press on really hard at all, just to add the Crimson Lake, just to the edges. I can just press on really lightly. So I'm doing each of those. And if you let the card rest, you can actually sort of add white highlights much easier. But normally I'm so impatient and I'm putting that white on there too quickly. So just going around with the Crimson Lake. Just need a little bit more green there. There we go. So that's the dark colour. Then my mid colour is Scarlet Lake PC 923. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of that colour. And again, just using a circular motion just to add that second colour. And because I've dried the black ink nicely, it's working really lovely. And when you first put your colour down, you just think, oh dear. But they blend beautifully together. They really do. So as you use the pencils, you go into the first colour that you've added. And then I'm going to use my light colour, which is Poppy Red. So then I'm going to use those three colours over again. just, there we go. Oh, I have decided that I didn't even want to do this with the second colour. I love how I just miss one of the flowers completely. So I'm going in that circular motion, and this is sort of the base layer, and then I'll repeat. So I'll keep them in order. So the dark, which is the Crimson Lake, I'll just go in and add a tiny bit more pressure. Just a tiny bit more pressure, just to add that darker colour. And you do lose yourself as you're colouring your florals. It's just wonderful. So with just a little bit more pressure, just to lay down that pigment a little bit more. So this is your dark colour. Just to lay that down. So therapeutic. Just colouring, just spending some time together. Then we'll go to our second colour, which is the Scarlet Lake PC923. And then I'll go into the dark colour and just blend the two colours together. And you can see before your very eyes, as you lay down more of the pigment, the colours just blend beautifully. And it actually doesn't take much work on the craft. Then I'll go to my lightest colour, which is the Poppy Red 922, and go into the previous colours just to blend all the colours. Just to blend those. And you don't have to leave the white area if you don't wish. You can just do that with a pencil. And then I can use my white pencil just to sort of blend the edges of that colour and continue so that it has some lightness in the centre there, but blends that colour really nicely. So just give it a couple of seconds just to rest a little bit. Now, did I bring my gel pen down? Yes, I did. I find if you give it just a little bit of time to rest, the gel pen works far better. Sometimes I was trying to put it on too soon, and then the gel pen wouldn't do anything. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sort of white lines, following some lines or pretending to on the stamp. Some of those sort of lines that I've got in the stamp, I'm just adding or pretending to, just adding some of those just touches of white, and just here, just on the sort of tips. It works really nicely, and especially if you just give that time just to settle a little bit. And isn't it lovely just to colour for a few moments and just having the time not to rush and not worrying about anything. You don't have to do everything in 5 minutes. So I'm just, again, doing those pretend sort of lines, just so that we've got some brightness and some definition. It definitely brings it to life when you add those touches of white. Just to add some of that detail back in, but with the white. It's just wonderful. Just adding. I tell you what, I could spend ages just doing the white touches. I could do that all day. So just adding a little bit more, and actually just enjoying the process of colouring. So just adding those touches of white, just so that it comes back to life again. Just look, doesn't it look lovely? I really like that. And then I'm going to grab my little grey Prisma. No, Tracy, no, that's what I coloured with, was Prisma. This is my grey Inktense. Got nothing to do with Prisma Lovely. This is my grey Inktense. It's just that I can't speak. There we go. So let's grab our water. Now, the craft card doesn't take water particularly well, so don't go and drown the card. But the one advantage is I've added that acrylic paint, so that really helps, sort of like a barrier against the craft card. So just a little bit of water, and then just blend that out nice and softly, just to give it a little bit of shadow. Oh, just love that, absolutely love it. So then, where's my Butalon stamp? Let's take the Butalon, like so. And then I'm going to use this Butalon here, the text. There's nowhere to place my stamps. Somebody's rang the doorbell and I'm hoping that somebody will answer. There we go. So then I just want a spare piece of card and just ink my Butalon text. Now, if you wanted to, you could add the fern across the top. We'll just have a look at what it looks like. Got the Butalon. Let's just bring that. Let's be good and actually place that back, which is rare for me. But then let's give those hands a clean. And then we'll just cut our Butalon text out. I didn't cut that edge straight at all. There we go. That's better. Now this Butalon can sort of go across here. Let's cut it down a little bit more. Oh, I'm just being fussy now. Doesn't have to be quite as thick. So it's just deciding where you want your Butalon. I think I'm going to have mine there, just so it's just not plonked there. It's part of the composition. And if you wish, just take a little bit of time just looking at what you've got and deciding what you want to use. So a little bit of adhesive, like so. And that pop of white will work when we add our matte and layers. Then all you need to do, where have we gone? You can leave it like that, which looks beautiful, or you can decide to add little bits of the fern if you wish. Now, sometimes the only way I can judge that is to take the fern, and you can see that will connect the florals. So yes, but we don't need too much. So let's take our fern and then, ooh, don't pull that off. We'll take the verdant. So we'll take that verdant ink. I'm just going to ink the largest of the fern, verdant, and then we'll use a little bit of Shady Lane. Just to give some darkness. And then, just to connect the florals, just to give a little bit of that light and dark. Let's do it on the other side as well. So let's use the verdant, then touches of the Shady Lane, and then let's turn that card around like so. It doesn't need much pressure at all. And then what I'm going to do is just use Verdant. So I've got the dark. Oh, and then sort of over stamp with the dark. Oh yes, I love that. So you don't need much pressure at all. And shall we have a little bit more of that dark on this area? You can tell when I like something. It's like, oh, a little bit more. Just now I need a bit the other side. Oh. There we go. That's it. Just love that. So if I just give that a couple of, I can see it's wet because you've still got that little bit of a shine on the green before we add the touches of white. So while that's just resting, let's add a little bit of shading just underneath our sentiment. This should be, no, that is not wet at all. Then we'll just add a little bit of shading just underneath the Abutilon. There we go. And then we'll take our gel pen and then we can just add some touches of white to our fern. Just to make that pop a little bit more. Just, you do, honestly, you lose yourself. It's much easier rather than to rest your hands all over the card. It's much easier just to turn the card around. Just to make it pop a little bit more. Oh, I just love that. Absolutely love that. Now, if I want to make sure that I don't get any splatters just on my Abutilon wording, let's just cut a little bit of card, tear a bit of card or whatever, and we can just place that across the wording. And then I'm just going to add go. Just, I absolutely love that. And all it is, a bit of time being creative together. Let's just give that. Tell you what, you think I'd made 50 cards, the amount of stuff I've got everywhere, but just so you can see that. We're then going to mat and layer that onto our white mat, which will then echo this white here. So it's just 1/4 of an inch bigger. Let's just add, again, I will just pick this up just to make sure I've got that in the right place. And the Posca splatters dry sort of nice and quickly on the craft. And you can see that white then brings it to life against the white here. I'm then going to place that onto another piece of craft, which again is 1/4 of an inch bigger. Add that here. And the matte and layering really does add to something on this card. And then I'm going to add that to our 5x7 card blank. Just like so. And the matting and layering finishes it off beautifully. So let's just put the lid on that. Let's lift this up just so you can take a closer look, but it just finishes it off really beautifully. I absolutely love that. So I hope you've enjoyed those simple step-by-steps, a little bit of creative time together. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.